Okay, folks, be patient because I'm about to try again to explain the unexplainable. So if you're new to the channel, you are not going to fully grasp the information that I'm showing you, okay? You have to watch a bunch of my videos to fully understand. Anyway, so if you've been watching my videos, you know that I've been telling you that there's going to be a spectacular event in Seattle around June 11th, and somehow Elvis becomes a part of this event. And the other prediction is that Trump gets a head wound and he survives this head wound. He gets that head wound on August 4th, 8/4, most likely in Ohio. And the only reason that Trump is even involved in this monstrous charade is because Elvis's identical twin died at birth. His identical twin was born still, he was a stillborn. And that is why Trump is Elvis's devil twin. And like I said, if you've been watching my videos, you know that all of this is supernatural. Okay, so Elvis and his twin were born on 1/8, January 8th. And if you add up 1/8 and 1/8, you get 216. And why is that important? Because the 216th day of the year is August 4th, the day I'm telling you Trump gets his head wound. And if you say the dates backwards like they do in the UK, they say the day first, then the month, 8181, you get 16/2. And the 162nd day of the year is June 11th, the day I'm telling you that Seattle's going to get struck. And Elvis has something to do with this monstrous charade, like I said. And you see this 216, I told you August 4th is the 216th day of the year. And I've explained to you that August 4th is also Obama's birthday, the day that Trump's going to get his head wound. And we all know that August 4th is the 216th day of the year, and that 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. So you have the 666 connection also to the 216th day, which is August 4th, right? Like I just explained. And I also told you that the backwards of August 4th would be the 149th day, because that's how many days remain in the year. And the 149th day of the year is May 29th, which is JFK's birthday. JFK's birthday is the backwards of August 4th. And JFK is the one who got the head wound. Do you get what I'm saying? And Trump, he's the one that's going to get the head wound, right? On the 216th day of August 4th, right? Obama's birthday. And he was born on June 14th, Trump, 6/14. And 6 times 14, Trump's birthday, 6/14. 6 times 14 equals 84. And 8/4 is the day I'm telling you Trump's going to get his head wound, right? The 216th day of the year. And do you think it's just a coincidence that Trump he won the presidency in 2016? Get it? The 0 is a crown. I told you, 216 with a crown. He won the presidency. Again, the 216 connection, which is August 4th, the 216th day of the year. And who passed over the presidency to Trump? It was Obama. He passed it over to him, right? In 2016 when Trump won it. All right. I mean, I know he didn't get into office till 2017, but he won it in 2016. And Obama is the guy who was born on the 216th day of the year. Okay? That's why it was passed over to Trump. It's all connected. And do you remember when I showed you this? Okay, this is like really old information that I'm showing you again. So if you go from the first president, who was George W., to the very next George H.W. Bush Sr., because he even has a W in his middle name, but it's George Herbert Walker Bush Sr., he's the 41st president, right? So it went from the first George to the very next George. Then you have Bill Clinton, George Bush, Jr. and Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Okay? And why am I showing you this? So remember, Donald Trump is all about the 216. Okay? The buck stops here. If you add this up, you get 216. You see? Do you understand how impossible this is? What you're seeing? And not only that, from George Washington's death date to the year 2016 is, the amount of years is 216 years. Because he died in 1799. Okay? I'm talking about to the year 2016, not to now. From the Washington's death date to the year 2016 when Trump won the presidency. And the number 216 is very important because it's the first number that when you put a crown on it, okay, when you put a crown on any number between 1 and 215, you will not see any number like this. Only at 216 with a crown will you see the numbers be the same forward and the backwards, forward and backwards. And look what you get. Okay, it's 333 plus 333 equals 666. Okay, it's the perfect number, split in half. And it's the first time when you're using a crown, because the O is a crown, I told you. 216 is the first time you see this. And you remember I told you that Elvis, he died at the age of 42, right? And Washington, where Seattle is the 42nd state, and interestingly, that's 42 plus 42 equals 84. You see what I'm saying? It's another 8-4 connection. And Seattle, Washington, SW, the initials equals 42 also. S is the 19th letter, W is the 23rd. 19 plus 23 is 42. And that's why, like I said, Elvis dies at the age of 42 and Trump gets his head wound on 8-4 because 42 plus 42 is 84. It's just everything connects. Just like from Elvis's birthday to 4-2, the date 4-2 is 84 days. It can be 84 or 85 if you count that day. So it's January 8th up to April 2nd, 4-2, get it, is 84 days. Or from April 2nd, the 4-2 number, to August 4th, 8-4, is 4 months, 2 days. You see what I'm saying? It always has some kind of connection, the numbers. Or from the day Elvis is born, him and his identical twin that died, 1-8 were they born. If you double that, 1 becomes 2, 8 becomes 16. You see what I'm saying? And when did Elvis die? You see what I'm saying? It's the 216. The day that Trump gets his head wound is 216th day is August 4th. And when did Elvis die? You see this right here? 8/16. You see what I'm saying? He died on 8/16. The number I just showed you. And remember when I just showed you this? So if you went from the first George to the very next George, 1 plus 41 equals 42. Do you understand what I'm talking about here? This is why it went from number 1 George to the next George, because there's only been 3 Georges. So the first George to the second George was 41, 1 plus 41, okay? And it's interesting that George Bush Sr., the only father-son duo, 41 and 43 equals 84. 41 plus 43 equals 84, okay? And you have a 42 in the middle. Do you get it? It just, everything adds up. Do you see what I'm saying? And the fact that Trump, I told you the buck stops with Trump, the buck, and it's 216, on him, And by the way, you see this 141? 141. Watch this. So remember, I'm telling you that June 11th is the date that Seattle's going to be struck. And I just showed you George Washington was number 1 and George number 2 was the 41st, 141, right? June 11th equals 141. Do you see? This is the most important number because it's the first number. The rest, they're all important, but this is the first one that's important. So June 11th equals 141. Do you understand? What I just showed you here, from the first George to the second George, 141. And I told you that Elvis is the image of Lucifer, okay? He represents Lucifer. And look, Elvis and Lucifer together equals 141. You see? June 11th, 141, June 11th. Can you believe this, man? The top row equals exactly the same as Lucifer and Elvis. June 11th equals 141, 183. Lucifer, Elvis equals 141, 183. Forwards and backwards. And if you go forward from Elvis's birthday up to May 29th, not including the whole day, but up to that day, it's 141 days. And why is that important? Because May 29th is JFK's birthday, the guy who got the head wound, and it's the backwards date of August 4th. August 4th is the backwards date of May 29th. All right? And look, it's 4 months and 21 days. And why is that important? That's when the Seattle Space Needle opened, April 21st. You see? 421. And that's also the day the Queen was born. And the Queen's mother was born on August 4th. You see what I'm saying? And Prince William, he was baptized on August 4th. I told you, it's just too many coincidences, folks. Anyway, just ask yourself, what is the chance of all these coincidences? From Elvis's birthday to May 29th, JFK's birthday being 141 days, 4 months, 21 days. 141 is the 141, the first Washington to the first George to the next George. 1 plus 41 equals 42. You know what I mean? All the connections to the 42 I showed you. And May 29th on the old Julian calendar, because we're on the Gregorian calendar now. On the old Julian calendar, June 11th would actually be May 29th. Like on our calendar, the Gregorian calendar, June 11th would be May 29th on the Julian calendar. Anyway, I'm confusing you guys. But just look, let me say that again. On the Gregorian calendar, our calendar, June 11th would be May 29th on the Julian calendar, the old calendar. And that's why the fact that it equals 141 to May 29th is important, because I told you that Seattle's going to get struck and it has something to do with Elvis, and 141 equaled June 11th, 141. You see? It's just like I said, it's too many coincidences. And why is JFK so important in this puzzle? Because, see, I told you this year, Seattle's going to get struck on June 11th, and on August 4th, Trump gets his head wound. So it's death and destruction it surrounds, but it also surrounds survival, because he got the head wound, but he died. So the Seattle is the death, and the head wound connects to Trump. See, it's 2 in 1. Okay, that's why JFK had to die. He didn't survive, obviously. I mean, you know what I mean. The ritual, I'm saying. Who knows if it was actually real or not. Anyway, I'm going to prove to you why this is so important, the May 29th, the 529, because I told you 529 is actually 611. 611 on our calendar is 529 on the old Julian calendar. And this is the last thing I'm going to show you. Let me tell you what I did. You know, Elvis was born in 1935. So I went from June 11th, 1935, all the way to 2022. I kept putting June 11th and every year up to 2022 from 1935, the year Elvis was born. And June 11th, 2022 is the only time that you will see this happen, that it equals 529. You see? And that is, you understand what I'm saying? That is because 529 is JFK's birthday. That's the first time it equaled 529 in 2022, putting June 11th every year up to 2022. It's the first time, which is JFK's birthday. You understand? And don't forget that RFK, his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, he was assassinated too, and it was on 6/6. And I told you 6/6, the word twin equals 66. And you know the Twin Towers were brought down 66 years, 8 months, and 4 days after Elvis's birthday. Do you understand how crazy that is? Because May 29th is the backwards of August 4th. You understand? It's a backwards date of August 4th. And on the old calendar, 6/11 is May 29th. It all, comes together like a perfect puzzle. Like I said, folks, I have hours and hours of information that I could just keep going on, the connections, but I have to stop, and you just have to watch the older videos to fully understand. Anyway, don't get my predictions, twisted. It's Seattle, June 11th. Somehow Elvis manifests after this spectacular event. And then the other prediction is Trump gets his head wound on August 4th, most likely in Ohio. All right, he survives this head wound. Anyway, end of video.